As a key NATO summit takes place in Turkey, the United States President Donald Trump has lashed out at his country's allies for failing to support the US during its war in Iran. He also renewed claims on Greenland, calling European resistance to his stance a big problem, and demanded Washington cut trade ties with Spain. And with tensions peaking after an overnight flare-up between US and Iranian forces, Trump declared the Iran ceasefire was over, while leaving the door open for more talks. That comment saw oil prices spike to the highest level in weeks, jumping more than 5%, and stock markets around the world drop. NATO chief Mark Rutte, meanwhile, said the alliance was stronger than ever after the Ankara summit, with a huge sense of unity among leaders. He also said the allies reaffirmed NATO's unwavering support for Ukraine and its determination to continue to ensure it gets what it needs. Trump has demanded that alliance members make good on a pledge to ramp up defense spending as Washington takes a step back from Europe. Keen to avoid a new confrontation with the US leader, NATO allies unveiled tens of billions of dollars in new arms contracts on Tuesday.
Do you have confidence that the negotiations will play out, or do you think the US will have to annex Greenland ultimately?
With respect to what?
Greenland.
Well, that's what hurt my relationship with NATO. Because Greenland doesn't help Denmark. Denmark doesn't spend money to really help Greenland, but it's an important part for the United States. And it's surrounded by China ships and Russian ships. And that's not going to happen. The ships, it's not going to happen. It was Greenland that, and it continues to be, that should be controlled by the United States, not by Denmark. And when they wouldn't go along with it, and with all the money we spend to help them with Russia, and we don't have to spend any money, we could remove all of our soldiers out of Europe. Because as you probably noticed, Europe's a very different place than it was 20 years ago. A lot different, much different. So much different, and they've got to be careful with immigration and energy. If they're not careful with those two things, you're not going to have a Europe anymore.
Do you think the US will have to annex Greenland ultimately?
With respect to what?
Greenland.
Well, that's what hurt my relationship with NATO. Because Greenland doesn't help Denmark. Denmark doesn't spend money to really help Greenland, but it's an important part for the United States. And it's surrounded by China ships and Russian ships. And that's not going to happen. The ships, it's not going to happen. It was Greenland that, and it continues to be, that should be controlled by the United States, not by Denmark.
As the NATO summit enters its final day in Turkey, President Trump says he's not happy with some of America's allies. Trump criticized NATO countries for what he called their lack of support during the Iran conflict, then renewed his call for the U.S. to take control of Greenland. The president also revived his threat to pull American troops out of Europe over the issue.
Greenland doesn't help Denmark. Denmark doesn't spend money to really help Greenland, but it's an important part for the United States. And it's surrounded by China ships and Russian ships. And that's not going to happen. The ships, it's not going to happen. It was Greenland that, and it continues to be, that should be controlled by the United States, not by Denmark. And when they wouldn't go along with it, and with all the money we spend to help them with Russia, and we don't have to spend any money, we could remove all of our soldiers out of Europe.
Denmark's prime minister fired back, saying Greenland is not for sale, and calling on NATO allies to stand together in defense of the alliance.
I think the U.S. position is unfortunately very clear on this topic, and our position is as clear as it has been all through. Greenland is, of course, not for sale. We are ready to defend every inch of NATO, including our own territory. But one of the reasons why we have built NATO many years ago is if anything happens to one of us, then everybody should stand up for each other.
Trump also singled out Spain, calling it a terrible partner over its refusal to support U.S. actions against Iran, and revived an earlier threat to cut off trade. At the same time, he praised Turkey as a stronger ally than some European countries. announcing he will lift sanctions on Ankara and will consider allowing Turkey to buy F-35 fighter jets again, a move some NATO allies, including Greece, are urging him to reconsider.
President Putin said, I would love to meet in Moscow. And I said, I don't think, I have to put myself in his position. I don't know that he'd go to Moscow. Maybe he would. Would you go to Moscow?
It's difficult. There are a lot of Ukrainian drones there. That's why it's dangerous for you.
He
It
doesn't
will be
want to be hit by a
dangerous.
drone.
Europe.
No, it's
United
hard.
States.
It's hard to go to Moscow. It's a little hard to. I thought I'd answer that question for him. I didn't want to ask him that question.
Mr. President, how to ensure that Ukraine will not be attacked again by Russia?
What about?
How to make sure that Ukraine will not be attacked by Russia again?
Well, look, you mean in the future? You mean after there's an agreement? Well, we're going to work on a security guarantee and Russia respects us a lot, and we're going to work on some kind of a security. If we can make the right deal, we'll help Europe. I mean, Europe is going to be watching it, but we're going to be helping them, and we'll work on some kind of a security package that will make sure. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that if we make a deal, Russia is going to be very happy, and they're going to get on with other things. They have, by the way, as a country too, they have tremendous potential. They have tremendous land, valuable land that they can do things with, and they have tremendous potential. But I don't think it's going to happen. I don't see that question is, oh, they're going to attack again. I don't see it at all. I think they've had it. This has been going on for almost 5 years. Right?
Yeah.
Who would have thought? I mean, it's a tribute because it's a bigger country, strong country, and it's an amazing tribute.
And we just got some breaking news just into us. So this follows this confirmation from US Central Command a few moments ago, folks, that basically confirmed what Donald Trump had already warned hours ago, that strikes are taking place right now in Iran. Well, we've just had a response from Iran, and it comes from Iran's Now News agency. Now, Now News is a semi-official news outlet, but it is affiliated with the Supreme National Security Council and the IRGC. So it has plenty of weight. It says that Iranian armed forces are to launch a massive attack on US Army bases in the region shortly. So again, this has been cited by Iran's Now News agency, which is a military source, and it says that Iranian armed forces are to launch a massive attack on US Army bases in the region shortly. So a lot has happened in just the past hour.
Elon Musk and Alex Jones calling for Sneeko to be deported. What's going on with Sneeko?
Allahu Akbar! Oh no! Fuck you! This is the Islamic Republic of New Yorkistan. Islam will be in every household. Inshallah, the whole world is Muslim. Welcome to Mamdani's New York. You see this city? You see how it looks? Inshallah, your city looks just like this too.
Man, that's crazy. I don't know why you say that and do that stuff, because it's just going to make people mad. I'm going to give like maybe a hot take. I don't think that you can have two dominant religions inside of one country. Is there historically any instance of when that's happened that it wasn't with like a lot of people getting killed? Crusades? I think people died in those. If I were Palestinian desperately seeking Western sympathy so my people stop getting slaughtered, and I saw Muslims like Sneeko boasting about wanting to conquer the world online, I'd probably just fall into a pit of despair and myself. I do think this is true. I think that the aggressive, huge ego that these people have, I think people don't have a problem with Muslims. They don't have a problem with Hindus. They don't have a problem with Buddhists or with, you know, like any of these other religions. But the problem is that, like, whenever you have like large groups of these people come together and then try to push a religious goal together, I think that's a big problem. I do. And that's the thing, right? Is like the reason why they do now is that you do have advocacy like this. People now view it as like, okay, you're coming to take us over. And I don't really see this ending in a very good way. I see them probably making some kind of restriction, having a lot of these people deported, there being violence. I think you're already seeing this happen. Basically, whatever happens in Europe is what's going to happen in America like 20 years later. Why wait so long? Because think about how bad the world was for people to accept, you know, any sort of like crazy government solution to something. I think 1930s Germany, why did people vote for Hitler? It's because things got really, really, really bad. Italy is the same thing with Mussolini.
Inshallah, the whole world is Muslim. The whole world can accept the truth. The whole world can go to heaven. God willing. Inshallah, the whole world says La ilaha illallah. I don't want you to burn in hellfire for eternity. I want you to go to heaven.
Sneeko responds to Elon Musk wanting him deported. Go back to Africa. This is my country. Nobody thinks this, by the way. Being born in America doesn't make you an American. Whenever you're chanting and talking about Islam taking over the country, how can you talk about how you are like, you're an American because of whatever reason, whenever that's literally against the First Amendment? I think that for a long time, people like played the game where they're like, oh, well, if you're born in America, you're actually an American. No, you're not. No, you're not. I mean, everybody knows that these people that were born in America, you know, hate America. They want to destroy America. They support America's enemies. These people are not real Americans. They're obviously not. Anybody who's supporting Hamas or Hezbollah, those people need to leave the country. We don't have to put up with this. We don't have to tolerate this. The Somalian who said Elon's about to die is exposed as a pre-med student in Missouri.
Well, I wouldn't worry too much about this one. I wouldn't worry too much about him.
Is it pussy? You smoked your goat while you were fucking your goat? What is this? Wait, this guy, he called this guy a pussy? Isn't this guy on SEAL Team 2, 4, and 6? Oh my God. And this is what he said. These guys sound way different when you wake them up at 2 a.m. This is the guy that participated in killing bin Laden. Yeah. They sound way different.
I saw a video posted on Facebook that he had been shot. I recognized him immediately. Not from his appearance, but from his voice, crying for help as he lay on the street, bleeding out. I am calling for a full investigation into the events that transpired yesterday, July 7th. He did not deserve to die. He did not deserve to be reduced to a headline of Mexican man shot and killed by ICE. Had my father seen any emblems on those cars, he would have complied, he would have stopped, he would have not reacted the way he did. Unfortunately, that was not the case. ICE did not present himself to him in an orderly manner, in a professional manner that any law enforcement agency should have, that's the standard, to identify yourself.
Maybe 500 and something illegal aliens have been killed by ICE. I don't know if it's 5,000 or 500, but that's what came out on. What are they doing? Murdering innocent Mexican people. They come to work. They come here to work. So what if they don't got papers? So what? Trump did this. Trump did this. Trump did it. These people have been here for years. For years. For years, this lady has been here. Her business. And now they put it up for sale. Shut everything down.
They're trying to say that the man
he rammed? No, he didn't.
He was not.
He did not. No, his truck was in here in this parking lot. People are here to work. Families are dying. People are dying because they're starving, and it's all Trump's fault. Trump did this to us. What happened to taking the murderers out? What happened to taking the rapists out? What happened to taking the drug dealers down? Not innocent people. That's not what you said, President Trump. You didn't say that.
What's up, guys? D7 back at you. It's going down on many fronts. I just want to talk about a few things here real quick because it seems most of the world is asleep to what's going on. It's like they're oblivious to what's happening here. All the warning signs have been thrown out about this whole thing with Hormuz, and it's about to hit the fan. And some of the guys that I follow that are on the economic side, that follow silver and follow the markets, they see what's just happened, and they see that we've been cut off already, and they see the obvious. What I've been telling you the whole time is that there's about to be panic. What you see in other countries is about to hit here because it's designed that way. And Trump rigged all the prices at the pump and then the prices of other stuff as he told all these places, bring your prices down, and was like mandating that they do so. So you've got the whole situation with Iran popping back off. They're going to hammer them tonight. They're saying that they're going to hit them hard with like no warning. He's hinted at actually taking Karg Island. And he's also said that they're going to target infrastructure, which is going to cause a humanitarian crisis. They're going to target the electric grid. They're going to target the desalination plants for the water. And he says, I don't want to do it, but then, you know, they're going to do it. They're going to hit them hard. And this is just what's going on with Iran. You got high alerts being put out by Israel, which is kind of suspect here, saying that they're watching refueling aircraft coming back in. What's that supposed to mean? Like something's about to get hit? It feels like something huge is about to happen. Everyone can feel it. And you have also, on the back end of this, all this talk being put out about Trump and disclosure. That would be the distraction of distractions right here. We're trying to keep everybody just kind of idle while they bomb the crap out of somebody else because they're going to be doing big bombing here, like big time. It should be drawing protests and everything else. But again, it's like black magic is across the masses and got them all dumbed down and docile. And no one's going to realize till they're paying or can't even get any gas. That's the problem. The illusion holds up for a while at low prices, but then when it just disappears, that's when the fighting begins. When the rationing begins, that's when it all goes down. And, yeah, well, we're still at Cushing. It's at tank bottoms. So I'm retweeting all the stuff from the economic guys that I follow, and like all this stuff is right there. Again, it's like the masses are oblivious. And again, I'm seeing disclosure big time. Again, they're talking that Trump's got a speech ready to go. And it's just like what Laura Trump was saying not long ago. And I told you about that. I warned you about the whole thing. Like, they done dropped the movie. Spielberg did. Now the talk of him in this speech is coming back up. So, amen. They'll do anything, I guess, to put Epstein on the back burner and all this other stuff. But, man, there's big war moves here that are going to affect everyone. And I would pay attention to it.
Wait, what the hell? Wait, what is this?
For context, this is a message from YouTube themselves, urging creators to fight the proposed UK's state-mandated algorithm changes.
The UK government is running a public consultation called Watch This Space, a new strategic direction for UK media. The proposals include mandatory changes to how content is discovered on YouTube. This could direct audiences away from your channel. Digital content discovery works best when driven by user choice, not legal requirements. This is a vital window for you to share your perspective on the content. Oh my god. They're trying to like rig algorithms now? The proposed rules now include a mandatory prominence regime. What is this North Korea shit? Prominence regime? This could include digital platforms like YouTube to prioritize and give a privileged position to traditional broadcasters like BBC, ITV, and Channel 4 in user interfaces and recommendation feeds, potentially pushing your content out of sight. Mandating prominence to traditional institutions will impact other independent news creators. Your content is downranked. Threat to reach. Oh my god. Oh my god. Now I want to celebrate 4th of July even more. So their propaganda machines are losing, and they're losing so badly that the only way that they can stop it is by making it mandatory to show the propaganda. If YouTube folds, X has the golden opportunity. Every company has to fold to the government because the government has guns. YouTube doesn't have any guns. They're going to try to resist this, but at the end of the day, if the UK government tells them to jump, they're going to be saying how high. They can just literally shut and block off access to YouTube on that website. Governments have a million different ways that they can be fucking annoying, right? The problem is that British citizens, I think, they've been boiled very, very slowly. There have been increasingly more speech laws. You have been increasingly told that you can't see what's in front of you. You can't even discuss what's in front of you. You can't even consume content that is contrary to what's in front of you. And all of this has happened, I think, probably over the course of my whole lifetime, right? That's their strategy, whittle us down slowly to a point where we feel hopeless to do anything about it. Yeah, they want YouTube to prioritize the mainstream broadcasters like BBC. So if the government in the UK does go through with this, I will show you my analytics because I do have a very large international audience. I will show you if there's a big difference with this because I think what they're going to do is they're probably going to deprioritize different media that is contrary to what their ideology is. And a good way to look at that is that, do you remember, so the Birmingham police went out and they posted and they said, don't show people this video. They went and they saw this, the incident. We would ask that footage is not further shared. By the way, this is the footage they're talking about. So this guy gets clotheslined and punched in the back of the head, and then the female police officer grabs him and then throws him on the ground. Or slams him against the wall. Look at that. So that's what happened. Brother, what the fuck? I know. Share it more? Well, that's the reason why they want it to be shut down. But
really heavy rainfall. And then you might spend several weeks in a drought. Just another summer of very little rainfall, high heat. You can be talking about some pretty big winter storm systems. Those extremes are swinging more extreme and they're happening much quicker.
Between a rise in tornadoes, monumental floods, and extreme highs and lows, the U.S. could be in for a rough weather ride.
They're referring to Super and Mega El Nino because this one's coming on pretty strong.
Straight Arrow spoke with the National Weather Service about what's got their antennas up this year. El Nino is a climate pattern marked by unusually warm ocean temperatures in the central and eastern Pacific Ocean, extending toward the coast of South America. Those warmer waters influence weather patterns around the world, often leading to higher than normal temperatures in many regions. Think of the atmosphere as a series of ripples across the globe. Some regions get stuck under hotter, drier patterns, while others see cooler, wetter conditions. The stronger the pattern, the more extreme those swings can become.
We went from a La Nina over last winter. In February, we started to see a pretty rapid swing above normal. Those above normal temperatures have just continued to intensify all the way from the west coast of South America, extending along the equatorial portion of the Pacific and over towards about northeast of Australia. We continue to see those trends, and the probabilities for the both categories of strong El Nino and very strong El Nino continue to increase.
So strong, they say the pattern hasn't been seen in more than a century.
The only thing that really compares to what we may expect, or the intensity that we have probabilistic data showing it could get to, is the stuff back in the late 1800s.
That can make predictions more challenging when the need to be accurate is crucial. According to NOAA, a miscalculation can mean massive economic losses, crop failures, and strained water supply and energy grids.
When you're talking about science, what you want to do is try to make that correlation with a really thick and sound data set. And we just don't have a lot of data for that.
Not a lot, but enough to give them a hint of what could be coming in a super El Nino year.
One thing that we do see in some of the data is that when you start to introduce some of these anomalies over the Pacific, is you tend to see more intense rainfall on isolated or more local scale type basis here. Those intensities are great in those locations, but then what happens in a lot of cases is that you get this really, really heavy rainfall, and then you might spend several weeks in a drought. Those are the type of variables that are happening. Those extremes are swinging more extreme, and they're happening much quicker.
That could add to the drought, flooding, and heat stress in places already dealing with weather challenges. Out west, where people are hoping for moisture, what happens next depends on how the pattern evolves through the summer.
If we start to get into one of those patterns where we had that big high pressure in the middle of summer, that is unfortunate news, because that would be just another summer of very little rainfall, high heat, and you're just building on top of one problem that's already existed.
And in those areas currently experiencing drought, a few big rain events may not bring relief.
The soil becomes more like a rocky, hard surface when it's dry and you get the drought. Everything that falls, even if you have 6-7 inches of rain, is mostly runoff. All goes into the rivers or other tributaries.
Moving east, along major rivers like the Mississippi and Missouri, forecasters are also watching for floods.
If we do have the river levels that are elevated from rain that are outside the area, that just kind of puts us more in a cautious approach of keeping an eye on not only rain upstream like it's already been, but also rain over the local area to make sure that we don't approach that flooding criteria.
That's one reason forecasters say they're keeping a particularly close eye on the southern U.S.
Southern part of the U.S., they have a pretty decent indicator that they will side or favor with the higher than normal precipitation.
The National Weather Service expects the South to lean wetter than normal, while parts of the plains could trend hotter and drier. On the East Coast, an El Nino typically means more coastal flooding. While Florida might see more rain than normal, a strong high-pressure pattern may actually bring relief when it comes to hurricane season.
It will shear them out or weaken them. It doesn't allow them to become well established or necessarily stronger in that sense. And that's in direct relation to that dome of high pressure, that blocking pattern. The one thing that we typically say, though, is it only takes one.
The term Super El Nino may grab attention, but how it manifests will be different for everyone. The forecasting science isn't a slam dunk, but one thing is for sure.
The one thing that we can say with almost absolute certainty is that El Niños do lead to enhancements of certain extremes, whether that's dry or wet, warm or cold. Those streams could either be really localized for a certain region. When I say localized, I mean more regionally in comparison to the globe, but they will be placed somewhere.
to stop and check out the sun. This is not a filter. For some reason, it has a rainbow halo around it. Crazy. Nóจะตก
Vẫn còn đang lên nha. Đây là cô. Hay gì lạnh là mình là cô. Lưu lãng水库，看大坝倒下来，整个村差不多没了。这溜朗水库啊。